what is a property and what is its purpose. Similarly, what is section, flow action, flow, and the purpose of each of this. I don't want to know about what is it, but I want to know about what is its purpose. Audible? Mic lo రావట్లేదు. Sound రావట్లేదు. Maybe దగ్గరికి వచ్చి అంటే వస్తుంది. ఇప్పుడు వస్తుందా?
Yes, audible.
I don't know. Yesterday it was good, right? Remember? Okay. Now, property, section, flow action, and flow. What is the purpose of a property? It holds the value. In order to collect the data and hold it at the business logic, you need property. Otherwise, you don't need it actually. Okay. So usually every business application, you collect the data. But how do you collect the data? Directly you display properties and ask the people to add values.
Hello.
Am I audible? Online. Yeah, I started recording. Someone please respond on the charting window. Able to hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I
Yes,
want
we are
to
audible.
collect the data.
Yes, sir.
Like common people, what is the best way that they can understand that they have to make the data entry? Is it directly properties you display and ask them to enter the data? Then how do you request the data collection from the people? By displaying
interface.
user interface. So if I want to design UI, then what is the rule to be created? Section. The purpose of section is to display user interface, to create user interface, to design user interface. And there is one more rule called flow action. What is a flow action purpose? What is the purpose of flow action? Contains section and plus what else?
To perform business transaction.
Listen to the question here. I'm asking about flow action. If you are not responding,
or action, but
waste of time preparing theory documents and sharing. It is waste of time recording the video and giving it.
flow action is container of
ఏదైనా బాగా ఇదిగా ఉంటుంది. మన దగ్గరికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత దాని గురించి పట్టించు. అవునా? You must have to go through theory documents. You should get to know, to orally speak out all the technical terminology. Okay. At the time when you are attending interview, they will come to know whether you are a person who has worked on the respective technology or you are just a learner and just speaking that you have worked on. Only by the way how you deliver the content orally. If you have that fluency, okay, means they can believe you. If you are searching here and there for words and responding, that means you are just a learner, beginner learner. Okay. If you wanted to get it orally spoken out, you must have to read it every time. Okay. I'm sharing you theory document for the same purpose. Okay. And moreover, your this recorded video I'm sharing, just you will listen back again for the practical reference as well as understanding the concept little more better when you listen second time. That's the reason we are making it available. So during the session, if I am going to ask any questions, based on your response only, I'll try to take the respective subject to its depth. If you are not responding properly, then there is no meaning. If you are not able to even respond for basics, there is no meaning of taking it to the depth. Okay. So your response makes it to get the training to its depth. Okay. Minimum basic things one should be able to answer. First thing. And going in depth, that is a different thing. You will have to have more practice and all. Okay. So
Yeah,
everything
Harsha.
that was being done yesterday, if I ask a question today, you you should have to respond it fluently. For that, you may have to read it loud, sitting at your place. You may have to get some questions out of the subject that you have gone through, and you yourself answer in front of the mirror to the questions, and you have to speak out. Every time when you mug up like this, then only you'll get the technical terminology. Your tongue will twist accordingly. Otherwise, maybe content will be there in your mind. You are knowledgeable, but you are not expressive. Will there be any meaning? Will there be any use? In interview, almost all interviews are oral interviews only, right? So obviously you have to speak out orally. For that, you need just regularly read it loud, like how you have done it during your childhood. Okay, that is the best practice. We left all the best practices now because we are grown up and intelligent. What was the question? Someone online was trying to ask. It is coming a background
Yeah,
noise. Why it is
yeah,
coming
actually there
noise?
is some background
Is
noise.
it audible now? Is it okay now? Because if I get it near to my, is it okay now? Every one of you
Yes.
able to hear me? Is it coming
Yes.
from there?
Yeah, it is fine
Now
now.
is it okay
Yeah,
online?
it is fine.
Yes, sir.
I think I have to be in certain distance for this mic. That is the issue with my external mic here. Okay, now it should be clear, everyone, right? Okay. And now,
Yeah, but
flow action purpose. What is the purpose of a flow action?
Flow action is
It
container
is
of actions
container
which
of
add
section
the
we told.
sequence
That is, what is flow action? Flow action is container of section.
section.
But what is the purpose of flow action?
It acts as UI at runtime.
It is going to allow business users to perform an action on the UI by providing
Save, submit,
submit, save,
save
cancel. You
and
can perform
cancel.
either of these three
Cancel.
actions. This is how you have to respond to say everything. Okay. And next one, flow. What is the purpose of a flow? I'll tell you what is a flow. Flow is a process rule using which we can design transaction life cycle. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of a flow?
Defines step
Flow
by
defines step by step. It defines the transaction life cycle beginning to ending step by step. By default, when you create a flow, you are getting 3 steps being added. What are those 3? Start, assignment, end.
Assignment and
Start,
end.
assignment, end. Start, assignment, and end shapes. Transaction will begin at start shape. Transaction will get completed at end shape.
End.
In between, one of the flow shape that we are discussing now is assignment shape. One of the primary purposes of assignment shape is to display UI. So first thing is you create properties if you want to design UI, and add the properties into the layout of section. Completed. Then section you embed into flow action. Flow action you call into flow using assignment shape, outward connector. Assignment shapes, outward connector. Don't
Connector.
ask me why inward connector. This is design of PEGA. That's it. We have to follow the tool. Okay. Assignment shapes, outward connector, using which we can call a flow action to flow. Theoretically, we discussed about all this stuff, and practically we have to work on how to create properties section action flow, just a basic level of template design. Okay. Every one of you need to write the business requirement in a notebook or in a Word document. Okay. Everyone write down. First business requirement. Everyone online should be on mute after you answer. I am sharing the screen for your information. Okay, I have muted everyone. If the screen is not getting displayed, please make sure that you are going to reconnect. Okay. I'll create one document for us. Write down business requirement. I will not write the business requirements in the documents or anywhere. You have to write it by yourself. Okay. I mean, like I'll be telling you, you have to write all the business requirement in your notes. Put the heading working with properties, section, flow action, flow. Write down all this. Working. Top heading is working with properties, section, flow action. What is the other one? Flow. 594. I created a folder, right? Write down. Create a new screen. Create a new screen. Create a new screen to collect the basic details of a customer. To collect the basic details of a customer, like what are the details to be collected? Basic details means first name, last name, write down first name, last name, etc.
Phone number.
You don't need to write this property fully because you are aware of all these things. Basic details: first name, last name, phone number, email ID, maybe age, gender, what is the country living, state, city, zip code, whatever the details you want to collect, you collect. Okay, more than that, whatever I am doing here, you may add little more than that. That is up to you. I want to collect the basic details of a customer, like first name, last name, age, gender, state, city, zip code, all this. Okay, I wanted to collect all this data from the customer. For this, we need to design UI, and after this is done, create a flow to design the insurance transaction model. Create a flow to design or define, you can say. Create a flow to define insurance transaction model. Create a flow to define insurance transaction model with one assignment. Next point, customer details screen. Next point is customer details screen should get loaded at the first assignment of the flow. Customer details screen should get loaded at the first assignment of the flow. Make sense, everyone? Clear? This is the detailed business requirement which we are going to work on. And then flow. So you know all the steps to be performed. What are the steps to be performed in order to design user interface and make it part of transaction model? First step is creating properties. Design algorithm. You don't need to write all this whatever I am typing here. Whatever I told you, requirement only you write and leave it. So what are the steps in the design algorithm? What is the first step? First you have to create properties. Create all the properties. Second step. Okay, I will be telling, you don't need to respond. I'm going to create section. I'm gonna add the controls into layout of section. Map each control to the above created properties. This is second step. Third step, create flow action. Embed section into flow action. Create flow. Call the flow action into flow by using which flow shape? Assignment shape. Assignment shape. After this, there is one more step which we did not discuss. To discuss it will take around 1 hour, but I'll write down here. As of now, we'll do it, but explanation will take almost 45 minutes to 1 hour. So create a work object, comma, make the flow one second, hold on. Allow the flow to create a new work object. Save, run the flow to make transaction. That's it. These are the things which we have to do. Fifth step you are not aware of. Step 1, 2, 3, 4 you are already aware of. Practically I'll show you how to do it. Okay. So creating what? Properties. Okay, that is the first step I am going to do. See, anytime for any business requirement given, before you start practically doing it, first you need to write an algorithm like this. Okay, the basic. If you don't know how to write algorithm, you cannot do anything. Okay, it is always a best practice. You come up with your algorithm of steps. What you have to do means the requirement which you wanted to implement is there. The design is there in your mind. Without having the design in your mind, can you implement it? So the design you drafted in a oral sentence. Okay, normal like a spoken language. Okay, and whatever you write, you do it practically. Okay, without writing algorithm, do not start working on any business requirement. And before we proceed to start, I will tell you one more thing. All of you take any application of your wish. That may be Book My Show, or that may be IRCTC, that may be any travel ticket, flight ticket booking application, but not Amazon, but not Facebook and Twitter. Okay, travel ticket booking application, or it may be any loan processing application, insurance. Anyhow, I am telling. It may be any other business application. Okay, YouTube application is there, right? These applications you have accessibility to see its functionalities and processing lively. It is there in the available or not. Whatever the application that you are seeing, write down business requirement by requirement. You write down by yourself. Start doing it from today onwards. Today one requirement, tomorrow one requirement, 90 days, possibly 90 requirements if there. As we go on with subject, you draft your own requirements of the application that you are lively seeing. This is reverse you are doing. Okay, knowing the requirement and practically implementing it is development. Okay, then how come you become a solution architect, or how come you become a business analyst or a business knows the business? First they know business, then they write requirement. Correct? I want you to do that. Okay, you know the business of YouTube. You take all different components that are available. For user interface, you write the requirements for any application that you are going to take. Screen by screen, you write the requirement. Don't write down all the properties in detail. And even you, if you can imagine, no need to write about technical aspects. Any technical rules you don't need to mention. I'll tell you an example. Book My Show is there, right? The requirement can be like create a form for a ticket booking where collect the details of let's say first screen. Okay, first thing you can write down, create a form to create a new customer account and collect the details of the customer, basic details. Okay, what happens when an account is, this is requirement 1. This involves only UI. Completed. Second requirement you write down orally. When customer account is created, all the details provided by the customer should get stored into Book My Show database tables. This is second requirement, which involves in storing the data into tables. Completed. With this, registration is done. And also you can add one more point in the second requirement, create a table to store customer information. That is also related to database. Correct? 2 requirements you have written for one single. High level requirements are fair enough. And third requirement, what is the third requirement related to? Facilitate the users, allowing them to book a ticket. What is the first screen? Tell me, I don't know how Book My Show look like. I never booked a ticket. Cheppandi. Huh? Screen display. No? Names of the, okay, search screen, right? Search for theater, maybe by movie or by theater. One is fair enough. Create a
First
search
of all,
form with a text. Hold on. Create a search form. That is the first screen. To with a text box and a button. When customer enters, what is it? Movie name, and click on search button. Display the movie and the respective theater in which it is playing. You don't need to get the exact user interface design while you are practicing. Our main aim is to implement it. UI can be here and there, you can change. That's not a big deal. Okay. You can display two text boxes with read only. One is name of the movie, another one is name of the theater. This movie, this theater. But all this data should already be present in the database. This is the requirement before search screen. Create a table with two columns, name of the theater and name of the movie. One movie and number of theaters. Okay. So, and this is the table that should already contain the data. When user enters the theater name and click on search button, data should be retrieved from table and displayed in the UI. This is one example I am telling you. You can make it more in-depth writing. Do not use any technical terminology. When I say technical terminology, activities, properties, sections, flow actions, don't use all these things in the requirement. You start writing, you take any application of your wish, not even you take Facebook also, no problem if you are convenient with. You take PhonePe, GPay, you take Zoom, or you take Western Union money transfer, any application of your wish that you are familiar with. Okay, mostly book my show. Okay, antena? Okay, so whatever that you are very much familiar with, try to think about what was the functional requirement. English language only, no need to go for technicals and all. Okay, right, like this, do not do everything in one day itself, please. 2 requirements a day, 1 screen a day, or 2 requirements of a specific screen in a day. Like this, you start drafting the requirements by yourself. Okay, clear? This is just for the sake of knowing how to write the business requirements by yourself. If you know how to write based on functionality, you will get automatic thoughts, more enhancement thinking you are going to get. Okay, so that way of thought processing we want you to get. That's why I want you to write requirements by yourself for any application that you come across. Only take one application, then we will see later further. Okay, any big applications and all. So first I am going to go with creating properties. This is I forgot actually. This is a time-based process. In the meanwhile, I should have done it actually. While I am explaining about all this stuff, maybe someone must try to tell the same. As I was teaching 8.6 for the previous batch, I have to switch between the servers. So we will create properties, and after creating properties, we will be creating section, flow action, flow, all this practically we'll see. It will not take more than 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so this is how you write down the business requirement. Take a separate notebook for that to write business requirements of your wish. Okay, so you write down business requirements in the other notebook which I am going to give you now. Online resources you write wherever you want. Okay, but draft it by taking time and by analyzing all the functional features one by one, not everything in one day. Okay, first account creation you finish. Maybe you will get 2 requirements for account creation, one related to UI, another one related to storing. Okay, you can come up with one more requirement. If customer try to create account with phone number, if already a registered customer, then should not allow him, right? And another requirement of search process, search for existing account, that also another requirement. So like this, you just think about requirements by yourself, looking at any business application and draft your own business requirements one by one for any business application of your wish. Okay, what is our application? lic.com, password, rules. If you want to come here, you can come here. Okay, fine. Okay, see, this is a customer details form that I am trying to create. Imagine I want to collect the customer details for an insurance policy process. This screen, can it be the same? Could this screen be the same screen even while we are collecting the details for new loan processing, new health insurance policy processing? Any type of insurance, can this screen be the same one to collect the basic details of customer? Yes or no? Yes,
Yes.
or no? Yes, it can be. So now first go with application context. You have two application context, framework and implementation. Which one you think better? Framework would be better because it is common for, it could be common for a number of implementations, correct? Application context we are now good with. Next, class context, organization class, division, I mean like we will go with these two, these three: organization, framework work class, implementation work class. Any of these three classes you can go with. Now, which one is appropriate you think? Which class is appropriate to place? At which level I have to place this form?
Framework.
You can place it either in the framework or organization. If you place it on organization, it will be available for framework, all implementation, more frameworks also it will be available. If you place it at framework, only that framework plus below implementations. Like this, based on the scope of accessibility and its generalization throughout the business, you should be able to find out the respective levels in the application context as well as in the class context, and appropriately you create it. Let's go with, for now, framework application context and framework class group context itself. I'm not going with organization for some reason, okay, because you don't know everything in PEGA, you cannot judge now, and I don't want you to go with so many options. That's why that is also one reason. And now creating properties. See, I logged into implementation application at present, correct? Will I be able to access the classes of framework application from implementation application here? Yes or no? Will I be able to access the classes of framework application? Yes or no?
Yes.
How come I'll be able to access? I already have inheritance features, right? See, a class can be accessed for creation or something from this text box. By default, when I log into implementation application, it loads implementation class group. I did not tell you technical definition of class group. I'll tell you that implementation work class. But I wanted to access framework work class. Look at here. If I right click on this class, creating property can be done under data model category, right? Data model property. As I right clicked on my implementation class work class, automatically it loads implementation work class only. If I want to change it, there is a way. Click on view all, just for your information. And here, remove this. Please view someone online, please view. Now it will come to this is how you can change it. This is how you can change it. And you see here, context of the application by default, I logged into implementation, right? So it will choose implementation. And I'm changing it to framework. This is how I can change. No need to log into framework application to do this, because your implementation application also have access to framework related class and application context. So you can choose it from here. Instead of this, I can do this. What I can do is, I can remove this class, backspace it here, and I will choose here itself FW work. And now I can right click on framework work class and then do it. Every time when I log off and log in back, if I am going to do it, see, if I am going to do this, framework class group loaded, but application will be loaded implementation, because I logged into implementation. I'll change it to framework. Fast change. One by one. I can choose like this. See, every time when I log in, automatically implementation work class only gets loaded. If I want to access framework work class, what should I do? Backspace it there and access it, right? Once I access it, if you mouse over here, you see a pin icon. Pin it. This is what adding a shortcut. Where is the shortcut being added? Here. Even if I log off and log in back, implementation class loads, but also in the shortcut I can see you have a file in the C drive somewhere, C drive folder 1, folder 2, like that you have, right? In order to access file regularly, you have to go to in-depth path, correct? Instead of that, if you make a shortcut in desktop, you can access it every time easily, right? Same, I am adding a shortcut. I'm not giving the screenshot of this shortcut, but every one of you will be able to remember while doing. Refer the video if you want. Did I start recording or not? Okay, now here you go. So I'm going to choose framework class here and create properties here. Okay. Property can be created under which category? Create data model property. This is the navigation. For first property creation, I will give a screenshot of the navigation. Second property under I won't give you, because every time same navigation is not required. Now it is going to prompt you what is the label, display name of the property. What is the label? First space name. If I tab out, you see this is the actual name, ID. This is what? Display name. Display name may have spaces, but actual names of the property should not start with plus, minus, underscore, should not have spaces in between, should not have special characters and all. So first name. And by default, process command is choosing the application context to be implementation. Let's change it. Change the application context to what? MW. Look at here. I'm going to highlight this while giving the screenshot, which means that is being touched to modify. Remaining things I am not highlighting. I did not touch them. Okay. As it is, whatever gets loaded by default, be with that, proceed forward, and then click on create and open. Create and open. It is under which category getting created? Data model category. Here is create and open. You click on create and open, and now you see so far property is not yet been created. It is not yet been created. You are in process of creating it. After I click on save, it will get created. If it is created, you will see a delete button. Created means you can delete, right? By using delete button. And now by default, the property type text and control text input. First name, do you want it to be text or not? Control also text input or not? So be here with the default one, accept the defaults. Click on save. Click on what? I'm going to click on save. After it is successfully gets saved, this is being created. You say that this has been created. If it is created, you wanted to know, delete button is there. Delete button is enabled means, when visible means it is created. Done. I would like to, I have closed it. I want to open the property again to see. Maybe I want to change the control and all. Where can I see that? You right click on this class and then do what? Refresh. Otherwise, without refresh also it should be available. Let's see. Expand this. Data model is there. Without refresh it is there. It is not coming. Property display. Your first name property. First name property is been created. You can see there. If you click on this first name, it will display again the same form. See, look at here once. Property type. It is read only. Would I be able to change this? Once you create property, in future you can never change the type of the property. This is not only PEGA. Any programming language, this is same. What is the reason? Suppose your application is running since past 3 years. You want to change the type of property. Is it possible? How many n number of places this might have been used? Is it possible to identify all the places in programming language? That's why usually programming language restrict the way of changing the property type. For that reason, in the programming language, there is a separate concept available called typecasting. Typecasting means at runtime, temporarily you change the type of property and do it. That is not there in PEGA. Don't bother about it. But you can change control value, you can change table type, all this you can. Except property type, you can change anything. So once the property creation is completed, we can never modify the property type. Understand clear, everyone? That is just for your information. And here you go, last name. I'm going to create next property. What is it? Last name. Right click on this, again same navigation, right? Create. There are different navigations. I'll tell you other navigations later. I did not give the screenshot of navigation because you already know. Last name. What is this? Automatically it is identified. Create and open. Now, is it same for last name also? Is it same or not? So similar to
Yes.
first name, last name.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Next, let's create gender. See, I wanted to display gender with 2 radio buttons or 3 radio buttons with labels like male, female, prefer not to say, like this. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now there is another navigation. If you have a property open here, actions, create. This is also same thing, like creating property only. From one property rule form, you can go to actions and create. This is equivalent to right click, create, data model, all that. Okay, any navigation you follow, no issues. That is up to you. What is the name of the property? I thought of giving gender. Gender, create and open. And property type, value of the gender, male, female, is that text value or not? So property type is text only. Look at here, by default it is text input, right? I want it to be what? Radio buttons.
Radio
Change the
button.
UI control. Change the UI control from text to text input to radio button. See here, before text input, there is a text called PX. Don't ask me what is it now. I'll tell you in future. But I want to change it. So I'll remove this. Click the down arrow. On your keyboard, you click the down arrow. There are so many controls in the list. How would I know where is my radio button? It will be difficult to search. Simply you type R. It may highlight. It may take you to the position where it starts with R. Starting with R, radio buttons is the first one, luckily. So someone online was trying to ask something. What was it? Will you be able to choose it or not? Table type, local list. I will tell you about other options later. Go with local list only. Here you go, local list. I'll choose local list. The moment you choose local list, look at here. It will ask you what are the values. Male. What else? Female. Prefer not to say, like this. I am going to save this. 3 properties I created so far, right? After gender, I'm creating age. Age is an integer value, right? Age is what? Integer value. Create age. By default, for every property you see text input only. I don't want text input. What do I want now? Change the property type to integer. Change the property type to what? So click on change and you see somewhere else here, integer. Do you see that? So click on that link change, then you will get this pop-up and choose integer. See, before I choose it, what was the control? PX text input, right? I am changing it to integer. The moment I change it to integer, what has happened? Control also got automatically modified to, that is just an observation you have to make. That is just an observation you have to make. It changed it to PX integer. PX integer control also looks like text input only in the UI, but it accepts only integer values. You type ABC in this text box, it will throw immediately error message. Understand? Now,
Harsha,
what is this property? Yes, please.
sorry to interrupt you, but what is the use of that data access? Could you please explain that thing again?
Anything if I am leaving now, it will be covered in future. Okay, it depends on some other concepts. Okay, what is the next one? Country. See, I want the list of countries to be populated in the dropdown so that user can choose one of the country. So value of the country is same, right? India, USA, text only. But control, I want it to be what? Choose the control to be
Drop down.
you will be able to choose it from the drop down or not? Will you be able to do that?
Yes.
Don't manually type. You just click the down arrow. I'll show you once again. After you remove up to PX, click the down arrow, type D, R. Okay, it is highlighted. Choose it. That will be very easy to do. And one more thing is what? Table type, local list. And I am going to write down some countries here. India, USA, Australia, UK. Like this, n number of countries I cannot add here. Only 4 are fair enough. Too many I cannot add. Save. Done. Now what is the property? State property. See, for state also I want it to be drop down. Same options more or less, right? Name will change. All options are same. Values will change, correct? Every time I create and I choose drop down again, I choose local list, I add values. Instead of that, you have an option, save as. What is the meaning is copy paste. Save as means if I copy the same rule, am I going to get all the options same or not? Can I modify after I get it? I'll show you. Just look at here, just for your information. Property name also will be copied. State. Create and open. Now you see text drop down, values also copied. I'll change the values. AP, TS, NY, NJ. How simple it is. You don't need to select all the options again. If you copy paste a file, all the content in file 1 will reflect in file 2. Change the file to content. Little bit of changes. You want little bit of money. That is what save as option makes your development little faster. Okay. What else after state? Let's say city. City also I want it to be again drop down only. So better I should have done save as once again. Individual cities. I can write some of the cities which I am aware of. Okay, some of the cities, I'll write it like this. Okay, you can write the cities of your wish. Anyhow, in future sessions, we are going to remove all this local list. We will dynamically load it from a table. That time we can define more cities if required. What else next?
Harsha, if we have to create an email ID, which property,
Okay.
which type should we select?
Email ID is text property only, right? Email ID is type is text. Anything combination of any different characters is text only. What is the next
But
property?
it contains numbers as well, right? Sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. A pure alphabets or alphabets plus numerics or alphabets plus special characters. All these combinations are considered to be text only. Okay. So zip code, I am going to go. Oh, did I save as this? I want zip code to be text input only. I don't want all these options actually. By mistake, I did a save as. So zip code also, I am choosing it to be a text property instead of integer. Reason is zip code may start with zeros. If you enter 00025, if it is integer, initial zeros will be removed by the process command. Any programming language will remove initial zeros for integer. I don't want that to happen. Zip code, if you enter 00025, it should be 00025 only. It should not be only 25. Zip code in some countries may have large number more than the integer range, and zip code may be some combination also, text plus integer value. That's why overall I have considered zip code to be integer. So first step of creating properties is done. Next step, step 2. What should I do now? Creating section. I will give you one more screenshot here. Just look at here. You can refresh this one. I will close all these tabs here which are open. See here, all the properties are created, right? Just that is just for your information, showing that all the properties are created. Now creating what? Section. I want to create a section rule now. In the same framework class only. Right click on this, create user interface category section. Section can be created in which category? UI category. What is the name of the section that you wanted to give? This section is responsible for collecting the customer details, correct? So customer details section, customer details section. So I want to create a user interface to collect the customer data, customer details section. And I want to create it in framework context, framework class, everything else is same. Create and open. Why this SEC? Because that is a naming convention that I am following. It's up to you. In every organization, whenever they are creating rules, they follow some naming convention. When you join any project, look at 3 or 4 rules, names. You'll be able to easily understand what is the naming convention that they are following. Okay, so that's not a big deal. You can easily understand it. So once you create and open, you see the screen like this, loaded like this. Okay, now click on the link, convert to full section editor. Click on the link, convert to full section editor. See here, convert to full section editor. Where is it? See, by default, this is a template structure. I don't want template structure. I want layout structure. So in order to get that, you need to click on, this is where you have convert to full section editor. You need to click on this one. Clicking on this, it will ask you to submit. You submit. Clicking on this, it will show you the design pattern, design aspects of section in a layout, having a layout inside. This is the layout. Now look at here, everyone. I want to add controls into this layout as well as properties into layout. I mean, like, map the controls to properties. Look at here, structural. If you go to structural, you see different types of layouts. I don't want to use this tab now because I'm not adding any layouts. I want to add controls. Data capture. You see controls like text input, text area, email, currency, like this. Picker. You see controls like buttons, checkboxes, radio buttons, slider, like this. If you go to action, you see button, link, menu, attachment. Data display like paragraph rule, image, chart, map, timelines. You don't need to remember all this. At the time of whenever you need it, go to one of the 4 tabs and see whatever that you are looking for is present or not, and use it accordingly. But now, how to add the control? Just drag and drop the controls. Drag and drop the respective controls into the layout, inside layout. See here, this is the text input control, right? You need to use your mouse, pick this control with your mouse, drag and drop inside, not outside. You will not be able to. Inside, it is not that I am just clicking on the control. I am just picking the control with my mouse and I am dragging it and dropping to release at the inside layout. This is an empty control that is being added. Now, double click on the control. Okay, add all other controls. So first name, after that last name, right? One more control, text input, correct? Last name. Age. Age also looks like text input, but it is integer. This one, right? For age, what is the third one? Integer. Age after what is the next one? Gender, radio buttons, right? So in the picker you have radio buttons. Get radio buttons added. Gender after? Oh, I'll add gender above the age. Okay. That's okay. And I will just maximize this. Hold on, otherwise I'm not able to see it properly. Country, state, city. 3 drop downs, correct? You take the drop down from here and you scroll down this. drop here, drop down. One drop down is added. Remaining two, what should I do? Again, you drag and drop usually, right? Instead of that, I can simply right click on this, copy, right click on this, paste, one more, paste, one more. I got three drop downs. It is easy. HTML code you are copy pasting. That's it. Okay. Country, state, city. Three drop downs I have added. Finally, zip code. Zip code is like a text input or not? I will copy text input control and I will add here. Added or not? Now map each control. Empty controls I have added, right? Back to the properties. Double click on first control, which opens properties panel. Which opens properties panel. See here, this is the first control, right? You can double click on this simply with your mouse. You double click on it, then it will open a pop-up. This pop-up is called as properties panel. What do you call this? Properties panel. Here you go now. Property name. See what you need to do. You don't need to type. You cannot remember all the properties, right? Click the down arrow on your keyboard. These are the properties that we created, right? Out of which one I want to choose? First name. You always depend on choosing it from the drop downs instead of manually typing. The moment I choose a property, if you have made an observation, before the name of the property, there was a dot added. It is that anywhere if you are accessing properties, you need a dot. Even if you are using dot, PEGA is taking automatically. See here, if I remove this, without clicking down arrow, if I type dot, it will load all the properties. It will show all the properties. I'll choose first name. Every time when you are accessing a property, there must be a dot. Understand? Repeat the same for all other controls. Repeat the same for all other controls. Look at here. Second one. See, I am not going to give the screenshots like double click, all that. First time I have given fair enough, right? And next, what is the next one? Gender. After this, age. Next, what is next? What is the last one? See, I want to have different layout structure. Choose the layout structure. Change the layout structure. Change the layout structure plus add a header text. How to do that? I'll show you. Just let me show the overall screenshot here. Okay, now this is the layout, right? You need to, this layout I wanted to change the structure, correct? Double click on the layout. Do what? Double click on layout. It will open a properties panel. This is layout, right? I need to double click here. Once I double click here, layout format. What is the layout format by default? Stack. I'm going to change it to inline grid. It's up to you. You see, while practicing, you play around with all the options to see different structure of UI. Other, if I choose here, I can click the down arrow. There are so many formats. You can deal with anything just as a as the purpose of knowing about how each layout type appears. Just practice with all of this. Okay, inline grid double. I'm choosing what? Inline grid double. And display header and title. I have selected this option. I want to add a header text. Display header and title. Title I am writing. Please input or please provide your basic details below. You write anything which makes something meaningful. Okay. So now submit. It is very easy. See here. This is what layout structure I have changed it to inline grid double, and this first name I have here. Sorry, this layout has header. See, radio buttons are displaying in vertical order, right? Suppose I want it to be horizontal. For example, just for your information, this is the one which I want horizontal. Double click on this. It will open properties panel. Here you go to presentation, display, right? Presentation. Orientation is what? I want what? I changed it to horizontal. What will happen now? It doesn't look good. All the text is been has become, let us see at runtime. Otherwise, I'll change it back to. See, you can play around with by double clicking and going to the properties panels. You can just have a look at different types of options and play with those options so that you can learn better. Okay, what is the next one? Section is done. Step 3. What is step 3? Creating flow action. Let me create flow action. What is the category in which you create flow action?
Process step. Process step.
I'll close the section. If I refresh this, you'll see user interface category section. Section is there. Flow action. Right click on this. Process flow action. I'll take more 10 minutes. Please hold on. This is customer details flow action. FA stands for flow action. That's how I have given the name. What is the next? I need to embed section here. This is the place where you can embed the section into. Click the down arrow on your keyboard. You don't need to type it. Click the down arrow on your keyboard. You will see all available sections. Choose that one from the drop down. Don't type anytime manually when this is available as a drop down to populate. That's it, done. This is very simple. Flow action is created, completed. Next, create flow. Create flow. Flow can be created under
Process step.
category. Process category. Sorry. Process category flow you are creating. And now what is this? Begin insurance. Begin insurance. That's it. I want to begin insurance by making a transaction by executing the flow. Flow represents the transaction model, right? When you execute the flow, transaction begins. By default, when a flow is created, we already learned that it will create a flow with start and end, one assignment shape. Where do I call the flow action? Double click on assignment shapes, outward connector, outward connector, and call the flow action. Just for your information, look at here. I'll do it quickly and again do it. If I double click here, by default flow name will come. I'll remove it. Click the down arrow. You have flow action. Choose it. Submit. See, I'm not seeing the name of the flow action on the connector. That is what display name I am not seeing. The reason is you have to copy the same here into the label part. This is the label part. So I'll show you once again. So once you double click on this particular connector, double click on the, did I write the same? Double click on the assignment shapes, outward connector, double clicked on it. And now by default, what do you see here? This is how you'll be seeing. Remove default name at flow action and choose, what is that? Customer details FA. You don't need to type. You have to manually choose it from the drop down. I will be choosing it from the drop. Copy the same to the label. Copy the same to label.
Draft is on.
I did not talk about draft flow so far, right? Let it be, no issues. Submit. Flow action, now it shows, the connector clearly shows I have called that respective flow action. Connector, whether it is displaying or not, that is optional thing. You call inside or not, that is mandatory. Now, with this, we are done with step 4. Step 5. What is step 5? Yeah. Yeah.
Work
That
object.
is
Work
create
object.
a new work object step. Okay. Now, go to the process tab of flow. Go to the process tab of flow. After I create property section flow action flow, going to the process tab of flow. Let's wait. See here, I am not going to explain you these options today because it will take time. As I told you, it will take 1 hour total to explain. This is the option I am going to select. Select the above option. I am going to select. This is one change you had made. And then scroll down. What is this? Remove default at work parties. Choose PY case management default option. I'm removing this. Why I'm doing all this? You don't know. I did not explain you, which will be covered tomorrow. But for today, you have to blindly practice with these options. Step 5, you have to be blindly practice. Save done. Flow is created. All the required options I have selected and I saved it. Now I can run the flow. Execute flow to make the transaction. Click on actions. Choose what? Run. Like this. I'm going to choose run. The moment I choose run, it is going to execute the flow. This is like developer point of view. End users, actual business users, they don't see development studio and all. They will not see flow open like this. They will see one button called begin insurance. They will click on the button. It will start the flow execution internally. See, starting from PEGA 8.7 onwards, PEGA is providing in this window a left panel like this. If you have installed PEGA 8.6, 8.5, you will get this screen, but you will not get this left panel information. Actually, this one will be available on top of the screen usually. Okay, I will minimize the browser size to show you clearly. 100 if I make it. See, overall this is the screen for your information. Right side also something is there, attachments like that. Everything what you are seeing here, you will get in 8.6 also, but the order of positioning, top level, right side, bottom, this will change. But overall everything is same. Let me maximize it to 125 back. Now here you go, enter some details and click on submit. First name, last name, gender. Please mute kindly. I don't have the rest of Tamil Nadu and Rameshwaram. I don't have. And here you go. And here you can see submit is there. After you submit, this is how you will be getting something. In 8.6, you might be getting something different than this, but overall everything is same here. No issues. See, this is what submitted data. What happened to the data which you have submitted? As of now, you don't know. It got saved into tables. I'll show you later. See, this is how you create properties, section, flow action, flow, embed one in each other, and action, and then run. Out of this learning, what you have done yesterday and today, yesterday's one is most important. This practical, once you do, it will be done. Today, if you do, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, anytime you can do. But understanding the subject is what mainly required. You should know purpose of each of the rule that you are creating, why we need it, and when you need it. Okay, why you need to create section, and when we need to create section. That is where one should focus on. Okay, everyone clear? Okay, So I have given you a task of writing the business requirement for any application that you are going to choose. Only one application you choose, write down all the requirements from beginning to ending. At the time
Question.
you are looking at cinema ticket or anything, you take the screenshots in a document, every screenshot, so that it will be easy for you to write the requirement for each of that, functionalities and all, everything. Not only for UI, you have to write the business requirements for even functionality, just in English language. That's it. Okay. That's it for today. Just
Question.
wait. Hold on. Yes, please.
How do you create two layouts in a section?
You will be learning in future. See, everyone has to have the patience. You must have to wait till I teach. I'll take slowly one by one. Your batch is what? 594. Huh?
Yes, 594.
I did not add the same. I added the same, right? 594 only. PEGA class, June 14, 594. Practical, what is the document to share? Oh my God, cancel. I'll do one thing. I will upload it to Google Drive and share. Otherwise, you will be asking me access. If the size of the file is more than 25 MB, it will add to Google Drive. That is the problem. I think where I am trying to add it. I'll open the drive. Just look at here. How am I going to give you access? Just because you don't come back and ask me again.
Harsha, I have one question.
What is the question?
Harsha, I have a question regarding my installation. So can we match back?
If you want to ask a question, come closer to your mic and please be a little bit louder so that I can hear.
Yeah. Question is
Yeah.
regarding installation. So can we discuss later because I'm having some issues on
You can
installation.
discuss later. No problem.
Because update.
Harsha, I have one question on the classes. So yesterday, you showed how to create a default test class. Okay. So while creating that particular class, I made a spelling mistake, and later, I am creating another class with the correct spelling. But the earlier class which I created, so I want to delete it. So how to do that?
See, anything you want to delete, there is an option of when you open it, there is an option of delete button. Click on delete button, it will prompt you the comment. You give some comment and click on delete, it will get deleted. Okay, but as of now, you don't delete because you don't know so many things in PEGA which are related to it. It's not simply you delete a class. First, you need to delete properties, section, flow, action, any other internal rules. There's a lot to do. There is one wizard also available to delete the class and all. You leave it as it is and you go with some other class name.
Okay.
I shared you practical document with the link. Click on the link and download it. Okay. And we will continue tomorrow and video will be available. Already I have given access to everyone. Still anyone is not receiving. Those who have joined yesterday evening time, you will get access to the documents today, all the documents on your email. But Google Drive access I have given. Anyone still did not get Google Drive access? మీరు మెయిల్ ఐడి ఇస్తే మీకు వచ్చే ఉంటుంది, చెక్ చేయండి. రాకుండా ఉండదు. There is no way.
Harsha,
given
one
mail
small
ID,
question.
మీకు కూడా రాదు అంతే, సింపుల్ గా చెప్పాలంటే. You need to go to your Google Drive and in your Google Drive, see here, shared with me. If you go here, you should have that folder being displayed. Go inside, phone లో చూడమాకండి, laptop లో చూడండి, అదే చెప్పాను. Look at your laptop. Phone will not sync properly. Okay. So always you open your mail or drive in your laptop. Your phone will sync tomorrow if you update today. Okay. Okay. What is the question?
We
Harsha?
got the documents, but not
Yes.
the Google Drive link.
Muhammad Sharik. I think you joined yesterday itself or you were there since beginning of the sessions. What is your mail ID, Sharik?
Are you
The
asking
data
me,
birth
sir?
property should be there. Okay, any questions? You just call me or post me.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
What is the
Sir,
question?
sir, my question is whatever property section and flow rule you have defined today. So do we have to create an implementation class, implementation
No.
application, or a framework application?
I logged in to implement. Shahrukh, I have shared everything to you. There is no way that you've learned. It is there. Your mail ID is already added. Please check carefully. Drive access also I have given. I'll cross check for the drive access today. I have logged into implementation application, but I created everything in the context of framework. You don't need to log into framework application because from implementation itself, I have accessibility to framework components, right? I did the same. It is limited to only one email ID, okay, not device. Manoj, please ping your phone number also. Your phone number as well. It is there for you also. We shared everything. Drive access, I'll check. You need to check your spam folder, promotions folder, all mails folder. Everything you have to check. For that you need some patience. Okay, పంపించగానే రాలేదని 20 మంది పెట్టారు. ఎవరు వెరిఫై చేయాలి. ఫోన్ లో తీసారు, గబగబా కొట్టారు. ఫోన్ లో సింక్ అవ్వదు. ఓకే, కంగారొద్దు. Laptop, you log in from your laptop and open your mails. It will be there for sure. Okay, I'll check the drive access for both of you. Okay, email is fine. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, you just call me. Give a phone call if you want to talk to me, please. Later, after 1 hour, because I have another session to take up. Otherwise, tomorrow morning at the very beginning of the session, you ask me the question. Thank you.